Well, Mr. Halbrooks, why don't we just start with maybe a little family history here. You tell me that your father worked for Lockheed and way back in the early days.
Daddy started at Lockheed in 1953. And when he came over from Alabama, Decatur, Alabama. I was born in Decatur, Alabama. Mm-hmm. We moved here when I was 1, and Daddy started in 1953 at Lockheed. They still called it the old bomber plant, but during World War II it was called the Bell Bomber Plant. And they still called it Bell Bomber because I guess Lockheed just bought them out or something. But my granddaddy worked there. My two uncles worked there. My mother worked there later in the years. Mm-hmm. And then when we moved over here, then my 4 brothers was born here in Kennesaw. We lived in Kennesaw. Daddy bought a house in 1953, and he gave $5,300 for a brand new house. So
that's where you grew up.
That's where I grew up. We lived there.
You're telling me about parties out at the plant.
Oh yeah, we were younger. That Lockheed used to have these Christmas, and all the employees, kids, would come out there and go through the Christmas things, and they'd get a gift, and you got 2 or 3 gifts. The kids of the employees did, and we'd go out there every year at Christmas time, probably a week before Christmas, and you'd walk through the lines and pick up gifts and stuff like that, and you got to take them home with you.
Mm-hmm. So you were saying that your father worked on the C-130?
C-130, C-5A, C-141, and
he worked on all of them.
Yeah, and then he worked in the they call it black hole too. That's was the inventions and stuff like that, research and stuff like that. And he was a supervisor out there, and during that time too, after he'd been there for a while, he became a supervisor there.
Okay, so they called it the black hole.
The black hole.
And I heard the term Skunk Works before.
Yeah, right. They called it the black. He said it black hole. Mm-hmm. Well, he would be working on this group would be working on something over here, and the people in the next department would be working on something else, and they were working on the same thing, but they didn't know what each other was working on. I guess top secret stuff, I guess.
Yeah. So, you grew up here in Kennesaw, you said?
Kennesaw.
And did you come to Ackworth much when you were growing up?
Oh yeah, we came here too because we went to North Cobb High School, and Ackworth was, Kennesaw was kind of didn't have no eating places, and Ackworth had I think it was the Burger Shelf, which down in the middle of town here, and that's where all the kids used to hang out. Mm-hmm. The Burger Shelf. Let's go get a Burking. It's called the Burger Shelf, and we'd go there and hang out because there wasn't no McDonald's or Kentucky Fried Chickens or nothing like that around.
Was Burger Chef a chain, or was it just a local?
It's a local owned place. It's down the middle of town by the old fruit stand. Down there, it was still there. It's the bait shop now. It used to be the fishing place. There. That's where the old.
Yeah. What year did you graduate from high school?
1971.
And then I guess did you go to Autry Middle School?
Autry Middle School. We were the first class in Autry Middle School. I was in the 7th grade then, and that was the first they opened. Matter of fact, when they first opened. Kennesaw was going, we were going, and Ackworth was not going at the same time. Ackworth went on one day, and we'd go on the next day, and then Ackworth would come in, and then was kind of not, the school wasn't ready. Mm-hmm. So Ackworth would go in there, and Kennesaw, then in the middle of the year, they combined us back, and we're going like 6 days a week, but every other day, a different city would be in Autry.
So 2 days a week, 3 days a week?
3 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
3 days.
They had a 6-day schedule.
Right. And then
you had to make up for it in the spring?
Right. But when they got the school finished, then they combined us all. We all met, 5 days a week then.
Right.
Played football there and basketball at Autry. Mm-hmm. And like I said, we were the first class in Autry at that time.
Who was the principal at that time?
Colonel Keenum.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, Colonel Keenum was the president. The principal there.
And he went on to be the superintendent.
The superintendent of school. Uh-huh. Yes, he's a big man, tall man.
Young guy back then.
Oh yeah. Most all the teachers were young.
Mm-hmm. So what position did you play in football?
Played tight end and defensive end.
Uh-huh. And that all the way through high school?
All the way through high school. I played at North Cobb, and my wife was in the majorette stuff, and so me and her met during our 11th grade. I knew her through that, but we met in 11th grade and started dating, and been married 47 years.
Okay, so that 72 is that?
1972.
Okay, all right, great. Well, you're 1 year ahead of me. My
Okay.
wife and I got married in 73.
Oh, okay.
But you were a lot younger when you got married.
Oh yes. I got married at 19, and 3 days later I turned 20. Right, just came out of the Marine Corps.
Oh, okay. So you graduated at age 18 and went straight into the Marine Corps?
Went in the Marine Corps, and then I was in Marine Corps Reserve. Got through Marine Corps in 72, and that summer we got married in 72. 72.
But so you're in the reserves at that point.
Right.
Your active duties
Right.
over. So 1 year of active duty. 72. I guess that's right when Vietnam was slowing down.
Oh, it was ending. It was ending at that time.
So there was a time when just about anybody in the Marines was going to go to Vietnam.
Oh yes, that was right. So
You were
I guess
the right age.
the right age.
Yeah. But you said that was a good experience.
Good experience. Oh yes, I'm glad I went in. I mean, it gave me kind of a balance. It kind of helped me up my whole life because it gave me how to run men, because I wound up being a corporal when I came out, so I know how to handle men and stuff. And I'm a superintendent now, so that helped me just to show me how to use men and how to work them and stuff.
Yeah. Where does Beck Construction come in?
Beck Construction, I started work for them in April 1973. So next month I'll be with them 46 years.
Talk about the company a little bit.
They build high rises, Texas Speedway, Discover Mills. They built the original Cotton Bow in 1912. Here in Ackworth, we built the City Hall, the ball fields down at one football field, and down at Ackworth Baseball, we built the 5 fields down there at that time. And now we're working on the community center that's going to open up hopefully in the next month.
Let's see, City Hall, that was first decade of the new century, wasn't it? Like
It's been about
2004.
Yeah, it's about 2004, 2005, something like that.
What was your job on the
I was a
construction?
superintendent then too. I've been a superintendent since 1978. 78. So.
Oh, okay. Didn't take long.
No.
Okay. And as superintendent, you were over the whole project?
I was over running the job site. The job site. They had got people were running the office, but I'm over the job site
How
at
long
that time.
did it take to build it?
It took us about a year, and they, like I said earlier, that they were in a Quonset Hut over there, and that's where we met, meetings and stuff. Beside the old jail, there's an old Quonset Hut there, and that's where the city hall used to be. And then they moved over in this facility, like in 2005 or something like that, close to that.
Any stories on the construction of this?
No. Like I said, we've done a kind of design build job, and everything went good. I mean, they got everything. Like I asked Mr. Brian Bulltice at the end, I said, "Did you get everything you wanted?" And he says, "Well, I wanted this little platform in front of the councilman." I said, "Well," and I kept telling him, "No, we can't do that. We can't do that like that." I said, "That just the people would be too high. They'd be looking be above y'all, the council people there." So, and like I said, they got everything they wanted. It turned out well. It was a good project, and I think it was good for both.
So Beck Construction, if it was doing the Cotton Bowl way back when, are they Texas based? Or?
They're Dallas, Texas. Dallas, Texas.
Where's the headquarters here?
Dallas, Texas. Oh, here, Atlanta. Our Eastern Division is in Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay.
Now,
how did you find out about them to get on with
I
them?
had my wife's dad's friend. He was, he worked for Basson Cook at that time, and he got me a job there. And he quit when I went in the Marine Corps, and I came out. He had quit companies and went to work for Beck, and then back then it was the Hennessy Beck company, but he went to work for Beck, and I went he called me up when I got out and says, I got you a job, so I went to work for Beck. And I've been there ever since.
Okay, so you must like it there.
Oh, yes, I like it there. And I'm a general superintendent now, but back then I was just a superintendent, well, field engineer, and worked my way up in the company.
Okay. Well, we might come back and talk about it a little bit more
Okay.
later, but let's talk about what you've been doing with youth sports in this area. Sounds like just about as soon as you got out of the Marines, you started volunteering.
Right. Well, I started in 1971 before I went in the Marine Corps. I just got out of high school in June, and a friend of mine started coaching his son at Kennesaw Generals back then, and he asked me would I help him in 71, so I coached that season. Then I went in the Marine Corps and got out in June, doing 6 months. I got out in June, then I went back and helped him in that year, and I spent from 71 to 77 in Kennesaw, and then in 78, I decided to get out of it because I just got married and like that, and so I decided to get out of it. Then another guy called me from Ackworth. He says, I heard you coach. I just started, my son's 5-year-old, and we're thinking about getting into football, and they told me you was a good coach, so can you come help me in this Rusty Hightower? And I came in Kennesaw in 1978 and started coaching at Ackworth in 1978.
Where was the field that you played on in Kennesaw?
First in Kennesaw is at Adams Park, the big field there. When you go in, that we played on the old baseball field. Which, when you turned in at the Adams Park, my grandmother and granddaddy owned the old house right beside Adams Park. When you turned in, they owned that house there, and we started coaching up there in the field. We played in the outfield of Adams Park.
Okay. And have you always coached the little kids?
I've coached 3-year-old to 13-year-olds.
Okay.
I coached 5 and 6 for like 16 years. And then I started coaching. Then I moved up with them and coached 11, 12 for like 16 years. And 3 and 4-year-olds, I had 2 adopted grandsons. A guy that played for me, Jay Edwards, he played for me, which his daddy helped build the field in the early 70s. Before I got here, they took the dirt from 75 and they made the football field that's down there now. He built it up with the dirt off of 75 when it was built in 75.
The field in Ackworth?
The field in Ackworth.
They came from the dirt from 75?
75, yes. They moved the dirt over. Jay's dad was a grader, and he was doing some of the work on 75, and he brought the dirt over and built the field up, and then they grassed it and stuff like the old field. They got 2 fields there, but the old field there, he built it up and made the field. So they moved from Coach and Clark, where that's where we still practice because there wasn't enough practice there. We moved from Coach's Clark down to that field, and then baseball wanted the whole thing, and then the whole football association practice and everything down at that field.
Okay. Well, the Interstate opened up through here in January of 79, so the dirt obviously would have come out earlier than that.
Yeah, he did that in the early 70s.
Okay.
Yeah.
And well, why don't you just talk about how facilities have improved over time?
Like I said, we was up here practicing, coaching Clark, and then we played the games down at the field where it's at now. There's 2 fields there now, but
Coach and Clark.
And we practiced up here, and then baseball wanted the whole area, so we went down there and knocked the trees down to make more areas. And then we built the session stand. There's a session stand there. We tore the old one down, built a new session stand, built new practice equipment storage. There's a grandstand down there, small grandstand. We built that. And
when
then
you say we built it?
The association.
The association?
Right, yeah. The association, which me being in construction, I had a lot of resources. We got the union to come out there and practice on laying the block for us.
Okay.
Like that. And then we had that
when you say practice,
they had apprentices that'd come out there and lay the block for us. And we did that.
Fabulous.
Yeah, and then we got the stands we got over there. After we got through them, we had $1,000 in them. I got somebody to donate the block. I got somebody to donate the slabs that sit there, precast slabs, and just asked people, can you help us? And they did. So that's how that all got. And the same thing with the bathrooms and the equipment building. We just asked for donations like that. So.
And a lot of in-kind work.
Oh, yeah. People that just, hey, can you help us? And they'd come and help us.
Now, what is the history on all that? Because Coates and Clark Fields, I guess, presumably were owned by the mill to begin with.
Right. That's what I understand. They were owned by the mills. And I think Ackworth football might have started in 57, something like that. And like I said, I got here in 78. And but I coached at Kennesaw in 71, so we played Ackworth. And then when I came to Ackworth, we played Kennesaw, because it was all county teams, little rec associations all over the county that played football. I mean, they had like Fair Oaks and Sweetwater Park and Milford and Marietta, South Cherokee had a team, and then Ackworth, and then Kennesaw. There's a small association. When I started at Ackworth, we had 4 teams. Like that, and then Ackworth has had as many as 22 football teams, and I think they're having like 15 or 17 now. So,
right. So, but somewhere along the line, the city gained ownership of the field.
Well, the city don't own them.
The city doesn't.
No, they lease them from the Corps engineers.
Oh, okay.
That's all.
Yeah.
It's all Corps property.
Okay.
It's all Corps property, and a lot of associations do that. Sweetwater did that, and South Cherokee's all on Corps property. I've seen as much as 4 foot of water on a football field, and it'd be all underwater. It happens every once in a while, but it happens. But it'll drain back, and we'll straighten it out and stuff, and then it's free free property.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Any star athletes that came out of
Yeah, we've had some pretty good, I've coached some pretty good kids. Like I said, Blake Sims played for the University of Alabama. He played for me at 11, 12. I had a kid named Stevie Johnson. We called him Professor because he wore glasses, little ring glasses and stuff. He was back in the early 80s. He played for Tennessee and also was in a national championship game, and he played against their Florida State's number 1 pass receiver, and he shut him down and stuff like that. Some of them started pros, but they never went very far. But I know Trevor Lawrence, which everybody knows Trevor Lawrence from Clemson. He played at Ackworth, but in the when he interviewed the thing, and whenever before the championship game, they showed him he was in Ackworth jersey, but they said Cartersville, but that was Ackworth jersey. My son coached him. My son coached there. My wife was treasurer. I was president one time there, and then both my sons coached there, which my youngest son's still coaching there, and I'm helping him now. I don't head coach no more, but I just help him. And then my other son went on to Hiram High School. He's a teacher there, and he coaches football there. So,
what do you think the kids gain from being in youth sports?
Well, I think discipline, and gives them something to do. Like I tell people all the time, says they need different things to do. Don't just play baseball year long. Play football or soccer or basketball, just a different sports. And this facility that Ackworth's building over here now is going to give them a real good basketball place to play. The community center's got 2 full basketball courts. Right now they're going over here, the junior highs and playing and stuff like that, but they'll have their own facilities, and kids will get to play basketball there. And like I said, kids need to be busy, not home doing or using their thumbs instead of their body.
Right. What's your feelings on the controversies about concussions lately in football and helmets and all that?
They always say the number 1 sport for concussions is cheerleading. I know they say a sport, and I said, well, they consider cheerleading being a sport, and most, everybody I see now is like Ackworth here. We buy the best equipment, best helmets. I think they're paying at least $100 and something for a helmet, which back when we first started playing, because people can't afford stuff, and they didn't have the helmets wasn't that good. Helmets was nothing. They're just a plastic shell with some air muffs. But now, if you turn one over, they got all this padding inside, and they all the air and stuff they put in them. So, and making sure they're properly equipped. Kids have got the right helmets on, and they don't have it spinning around their head when they got it buckled up and stuff like that.
Right. So you all provide the helmets?
We provide their helmets. We provide shoulder pads, everything. We even game jerseys. We give them their game jersey at the end of the year. They get to keep their game jerseys and pants. We furnish pants, knee pads, all the pads, and then shoulder pads, helmets. The only thing really they have to furnish is their shoes.
You all spend a lot of time raising money to pay for all these things?
It's a ongoing effort to raise money to make sure people are doing the right things with the money.
How supportive is the city on these projects?
They're good. I mean, you couldn't be there without the city. I mean, the city's always been a big help. I know James and Brian Bullticer were in with the football. A lot of council people here. I've coached their sons and coached them and all like that stuff. So they're very supportive with Aqua football and all the sports. I mean, they probably got one of the best, what I think the best city for sports and stuff. They got great people there in the sports. I know a few other cities that don't pay attention to the sports and stuff like that. And that's the youth of our, the youth is where it's at.
Were you involved in sports other than football?
I coached baseball for 12 years here in the city of Aqua. It's just got so much. You're coaching baseball and football, and it just takes too much time. Then trying to be a superintendent at the job site and then get off of work and come coach, and it was just all year round. We was playing all-stars and stuff like that. It went from, I was going busy from February to Thanksgiving. So really, we just took 2 months off, and so I had to give one up. So I just gave up baseball because I love football.
Yeah. So you work a full schedule. Do you get off early from work, or what time do you practice?
We start at 6:30, 6:30 to 8:30, and I try to juggle my time where I make sure I can get away in time. When I was up here working in Aqua, I was right here. So.
Right.
But that wasn't very,
Even with the little kids, they're practicing to 8:30 at night?
Yeah, well, sometimes they let them go a little earlier, and it's just, they start off like 5 days a week till school starts, and then we go back to 3 days a week.
You were saying earlier that you fired James Albright one time.
Oh, yes, James played for me, and he was a center for me, and then we had to go and snap the ball, and he was trying to long snap to our quarterback, and he didn't do very good, so I walked over and told him.
He's like 6 years old?
6 to 7 year old. And I told him, I said, "You're fired," like that. And then years later, when James started coaching there too, he told me, he said, "Coach, I remember when you fired me." And then when we started this project here started at City Hall, and he said, "I think I'm going to fire you because you fired me when I was younger." And I told him, I said, "James, that made you the man you are today because you can be fired at any time." So a few years later, James came over and told me, he said, "Coach, I fired one today." I said, "See there, you learned something."
Well, talk about the community center, the construction on that.
We've been working on that. It's supposed to open in a month now, in April. If the rain just killed the job a lot, but it's going to be 2 full basketball courts with 350-seat banquet hall, some classrooms, bathrooms. They got 10 offices down there for the employees and the staff to work here at Aqua. Parking lot. Instead of playing, you can play like 4 games there at the same time with dividing up in 2 games or 4 games. You can do there. So it's going to be really nice. It's got state-of-the-art flooring. It's got a walking track around both gyms. You can go out an elevator up there and get off and watch. You can walk around while your kids are down there playing basketball or practicing. And you can stand up there and watch them play from up there too.
Wow. How expensive is that project? Is that SPLOST money?
I think it is SPLOST money and city money. I think Cobb County donated so much, and the city came with so much, and it's like I said, it's going to be a real thing for. I know people here in Ackworth been dreaming about that. James and the city council been wanting that for about 20 years now. So it's a dream come true.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of projects going on in Ackworth now.
Oh, they're busy. They got stuff going on everywhere.
The overpass. And,
The overpass. I mean,
the new history center.
District Center. I mean,
Been involved with that at all?
no, not involved with that. But like I said, the Ackworth's got probably more parks and stuff than anywhere you can go to. I mean, they got parks everywhere that people can just go out and walk around and walk and enjoy the scenery and stuff.
Well, I guess we're lucky that there's so much Corps of Engineer property that runs through the city
Oh yeah,
of Ackworth.
that's just like the football field. That's Corps Engineer property.
Talk about the Northwest Georgia Youth Football Program that you were commissioner with.
I was commissioner there for 4 years. I was treasurer there for 15 years. And it's a program of teams from all over. Now it's just about all over the northwest part of the state. They got teams in Statesboro, not Statesboro, but Sharpsboro. There's teams from South Cherokee, Cobb County, Paulding County, Douglasville. We got teams from Rome, Villarica. They got a team south of Chattanooga. So they got teams from everywhere now coming into the program.
And what did you have to do as commissioner?
When I was commissioner, I was over the league. I was over the whole team. But when I was commissioner, that's been late 80s. We didn't have that many teams. We had like maybe 80 teams in the whole thing. But now they'll have anywhere from nearly 150 teams in that youth program. They'll have like 10 or 12 8-year-old teams. They got 20 10-year-old teams, 10, 12, 11, 12-year-old teams. And just, it's huge now compared to what it was when I was there.
Yeah. Well, talk about your wife and your sons. It sounds like your sons have stayed in Ackworth.
Yes, they stay here. They coach here. Besides my oldest one, he coaches at Hiram High School. Me and Gail started dating in 1970 and got married, and she came with me to youth football. So they got two of us instead of just one of us. And then when our kids played at Ackworth football, they played Ackworth baseball, and they went through the whole program from start when they were 5 all the way to they was 12. And then they came back, and when Stan was going to college, he came down and coached with me during college when I was going to college. And then when he got out of college and started teaching, then he moved on to be a football coach. And Nathan's, when he got out of college, or during college too, he went to Highlands, I think they call it now, but he went to North Metro Tech, I think is what they call it. He went there, and then while he was there, he coached. Now he's head coaching of the youth football team, and I'm helping him. So I don't have to be. They call me the Pope down at the football field, the Pope like that. So they got a lot of kids that call me Pop and stuff like that down there too.
Now, where did Stan go to college?
He went to Kennesaw State. He got his master's degree from Georgia Southern, and he went to Kennesaw State.
And is he the head coach at Hiram?
No, he's an assistant coach. Assistant coach. At one time, he was assistant head coach there. He is head coach of the wrestling team and head coach at the track team.
Head coach of the track team?
Yeah, track team, wrestling, and assistant coach at football.
See if I get at Hiram.
He's been there. He was at junior high, and then a position came over at Hiram. He's been there ever since. So he's be 40 this year. So he's been there
Is
at
it
Hiram.
called Hiram High School? Or?
Hiram High School,
Okay.
which is in Paulding County.
Yeah. Okay. So not too far away then.
Not too far, no.
Okay. Well, what has kept you in Ackworth all these years?
I just like working with kids. I just like working with kids and the community here. And like I said, with the help of the city that helps us. And like I said, James and a bunch of the city people help coach too. It just, and we have a lot of, it's like a family down there. It's a one big family. So.
Well, Ackworth has certainly grown in recent years. How's that affected your football program?
It's helped it. I mean, grow real big, and then when they had the concussion thing, it's kind of went down a little bit, but it's starting to come back a little bit. Sometimes it's according how the Falcons do. If the Falcons have a good year, you'll pick up in kids. We always see that when the Falcons have a good year, we have a good year. Or Georgia, some of the teams around the state here, or North Cobb, if they have good years, the kids, you have more kids that next year. They won't try play.
Is there as much interest as there used to be when there's so many other things they can do, soccer and what have you?
Yeah, not that. Yeah, some is just according the years and stuff. But like I said, there's all these other sports like lacrosse, soccer, football, baseball, and basketball. There's a lot of other things to do now. And then most kids, I mean, when I was growing up, you go by subdivision, which everybody probably playing outside. Well, you can go by subdivision now, and there ain't nobody outside. No. They're all inside playing Fortnite and stuff like that. So,
yeah. I forgot to mention earlier on that there's a field named for you.
Oh yeah, football field.
Talk about that a little bit. When did that happen?
That happened probably about late 90s, middle 90s, and stuff like that. I guess because I donated a lot of time down there, and I was president. Like I said, I was president of Accor football for a while, and then vice president. I'm an honorary board member now. I'm not on the board like I used to. I was on the board for probably 35 years or better, probably 40 years at Accor, and now I'm just an honorary board member. I get to go to the meetings. And I got to vote. I got to vote. I got to vote. So me and my wife both are honorary members. Like I said, she was treasurer for 20-something years there.
Right. We got any grandchildren on the way?
No grandkids. I got one son that's married, just got married in December. The other son still lives at home. I guess I messed up. I told him one time that when I die, all this is going to be yours. And he said, well, why move out then? So he's still there, but like I said, the youngest son got married in December, and he's moved out, and they live in Cartersville, but he still coaches in Ackworth. So.
Okay. Well, that's great. Anything else you'd like to add to the interview?
Not that I know of.
Okay. Well, this has been great. I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it. Like I said, Ackworth's a good place. I've been here for 41 years in Ackworth and 7 years in Kennesaw, but it's a good place to be. I wouldn't coach nowhere else. I think when I leave here, I'll be done.
Okay.
I'll be done.
All right. Well, great. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.